The Arctic Research Station sat like a forgotten promise on the edge of the frozen world. Marcus Webb pressed his forehead against the double-paned window, watching snow devils dance across the white expanse. For 3 months he had been the only human within 200 miles, and that suited him just fine. The silence here was different from loneliness. It was clean, purposeful, untainted by the complications that came with other people. His radio console crackled with the usual static, the background noise of a universe full of distant voices. Marcus returned to his desk, logging atmospheric readings with practiced efficiency. The work was simple, meditative. Weather patterns, ice measurements, equipment maintenance. Nothing that required him to explain himself or pretend to be someone he was not. Then the signal came. At first, Marcus thought it was interference from the solar storm predicted for tonight. But the pattern was too regular, too insistent. 3 pulses, a pause, 3 more. His heart rate kicked up as he adjusted the frequency filters. The signal grew stronger, sharper, emanating from somewhere close. Too close. Nothing should be transmitting from the ice fields around the station. He pulled on his thermal gear with shaking hands. The wind outside hit him like a physical wall, stealing his breath. Through the swirling snow he spotted it. A faint blue glow pulsing in the distance, perhaps a quarter-mile from the station. Marcus grabbed his emergency sled and pushed forward into the blizzard. The source was a craft, though unlike anything he had seen in technical manuals or classified briefings. Smooth as polished stone, it lay half-buried in a fresh drift, its hull flickering with dying light. As Marcus approached, a seam appeared in the seamless surface. Steam hissed into the frigid air, and 2 figures stumbled out into the storm. They collapsed within steps of their vessel. Marcus reached them just as consciousness left their bodies. Even through the shock and adrenaline, he registered their beauty. 2 women, identical in form, their skin carrying a faint luminescence that pushed back against the darkness. Their clothing seemed woven from starlight itself, though it provided little protection against Arctic cold. Training overrode wonder. Marcus loaded them onto the sled, secured their bodies, and hauled them back toward the station. His muscles screamed with effort, but he did not stop. Whatever they were, they would freeze to death in minutes without shelter. Inside, he laid them on the floor near the heating unit and worked quickly. Thermal blankets, warm water, monitoring their vital signs, even though he had no baseline for comparison. Their hearts beat in perfect synchronization, a rhythm that seemed to hum through the air itself. The first one opened her eyes as Marcus checked her temperature. Violet irises regarded him with startling clarity and zero fear. Her lips moved, and though the language was nothing he recognized, understanding bloomed in his mind like flowers opening to sunlight. "You saved us," the meaning came, though not through sound alone. "I am Naya." The second woman stirred, her eyes the same impossible violet. But where Naya's gaze held calm curiosity, this one sparkled with fierce energy. "Vera," she said, the name arriving in his thoughts. "Our ship failed. The storm, the magnetic fields, something we did not predict." Marcus sat back on his heels, his scientific mind racing while his heart pounded with something else entirely. "You're not from Earth?" Naya sat up slowly, graceful despite her ordeal. "We are scholars from a binary star system. We study the formation of emotional bonds across different species. Your world was our final research destination before we return home. At sunrise," Vera added, her voice carrying an edge of urgency. "Our mothership will depart at first light. With or without us." Marcus glanced at his chronometer. 6 hours until dawn. 6 hours to process the impossible, to understand what their presence meant. But as Naya's hand accidentally brushed his while adjusting her blanket, and as Vera's intense gaze held his with unspoken questions, Marcus felt something shift in his carefully ordered solitude. These 2 strangers from beyond the stars had crashed into his frozen sanctuary, and despite every instinct that told him to maintain distance, he felt drawn to them both with equal force. Naya's gentle wisdom called to something peaceful in his soul. Vera's wild curiosity ignited something he had thought long extinguished. The storm howled outside, sealing them together in the warm glow of the station. Marcus Webb, who had chosen isolation over connection, suddenly faced a night that would challenge everything he thought he understood about his own heart. The station's emergency generator hummed steadily as the blizzard intensified outside. Marcus prepared hot tea, his hands moving through familiar motions while his mind struggled with the extraordinary. Naya and Vera sat close to the heating unit, their luminescence gradually brightening as warmth returned to their bodies. They moved in subtle harmony, like reflections of the same thought expressed in different tones. "Your world is beautiful in its extremes," Naya said, accepting the steaming cup Marcus offered. Her fingers lingered near his, and warmth that had nothing to do with the tea spread through his chest. "We have never experienced cold like this. Our home suns keep everything in perpetual warmth." Vera leaned forward, her eyes bright with interest. "Tell us about you, Marcus Webb. Why does a human choose to live alone in such a harsh place?" The question touched something raw. Marcus settled onto the floor across from them, cradling his own cup. "I suppose I am better at understanding systems than people. Weather patterns are predictable. Data does not judge or disappoint. Out here, I do not have to pretend to be anything other than what I am." "And what are you?" Naya asked softly. The intimacy of her tone made Marcus meet her gaze. "Someone who has always felt like an outsider looking in. I watch others form connections that seem to come naturally to them. But for me, it is like there is glass between me and the rest of humanity. I can see it, understand it intellectually, but not quite reach through." Vera moved closer, settling beside him with surprising boldness. "Perhaps you were not meant for ordinary connections. Perhaps you were waiting for something extraordinary." Heat crept up Marcus's neck. The way Vera looked at him, direct and unguarded, made his pulse quicken. "Is that what you study? Connections?" "We study love," Naya said, and the words seemed to carry more weight in her mouth. "Our species experiences it differently than yours. We share consciousness in moments of deep bond. What one feels, all feel. There is no separation, no individual longing. We came to Earth to understand how humans experience love as singular beings, isolated in your own thoughts and hearts." "It sounds lonely," Marcus said, though he recognized the irony even as he spoke. "It is unique to your kind," Vera said. She reached out and gently took Marcus's hand. The touch sent electricity through his arm. "This, for example. When I touch you, I feel warmth, curiosity, a quickening of my pulse that belongs only to me. Not to Naya, though she is my twin in every way. This is new. This is what we came to understand." Naya shifted closer on his other side. "Among our people, if one loves, all love. There is no choice, no individual desire. But watching you, Marcus, feeling what stirs when you look at me, this is mine alone. It frightens me and fascinates me." Marcus found himself caught between them, literally and metaphorically. Naya's hand rested on his shoulder, her touch gentle and exploring. Vera still held his hand, her thumb tracing patterns on his skin. He should pull away, should establish some professional distance. Instead, he let himself feel the moment. "You said your ship leaves at sunrise," he managed. "Can it be repaired?" "Yes," Vera said. "The damage is minor. We could signal our mothership and be retrieved. But we have until dawn to complete our research. To understand what we came to learn, show me something human," Naya said. "Something that brings you joy." Marcus stood, gently extracting himself from their warmth, though his body protested the loss. He crossed to an old storage cabinet and pulled out a battered acoustic guitar. "This was my father's. Music is probably not unique to Earth, but the way it makes me feel, that seems deeply human." He played a simple melody, fingers finding the strings from muscle memory. The notes filled the small space, intimate and honest. When he looked up, both sisters watched him with expressions of wonder. Naya's eyes shimmered with what might have been tears. Vera's lips parted in amazement. "Again," Vera whispered. "Please." Marcus played another song, something slower and more melancholy. As the final notes faded, Naya moved to him. "Thank you for sharing that. I felt something shift inside me, something I have no words for." "That is the point," Marcus said quietly. "Some things cannot be explained, only experienced." Vera stood and held out her hand. Then teach me another human thing. Teach me to dance. Marcus hesitated. I'm not very good at it. Neither am I, Vera grinned. We can be terrible together. He took her hand, and she pulled him into an awkward sway. There was no music now except the wind outside, but it did not matter. Vera laughed when he stepped on her foot, and the sound was like bells. Naya watched them with a soft smile, and Marcus felt the weight of her attention like a caress. Your turn, Vera said to her sister, stepping back. Naya moved into Marcus's arms with liquid grace, and the dance became something different. Slower, more careful, charged with unspoken questions. I have never wanted something just for myself before, Naya whispered against his ear. Until now. Until you. Marcus's breath caught. He pulled back to look at her face, seeing vulnerability and desire in equal measure. Then he glanced at Vera, who watched them with an expression that mirrored her sister's words. The impossible truth settled over him. He was falling for both of them, and they for him, and dawn would tear them apart before any of them could understand what that meant. The storm broke near midnight, leaving a crystalline silence in its wake. Through the station windows, the sky came alive with ribbons of green and purple light. The aurora borealis danced overhead, more spectacular than Marcus had ever witnessed in his months of isolation. Come outside, he said to Naya and Vera. You need to see this. They dressed in his spare thermal gear, the clothing comically oversized on their slender frames. But their laughter made them beautiful, and Marcus felt his heart constrict with the knowledge that he had only hours left with them. They stepped into the breathtaking cold together. The northern lights swirled above them in cosmic grandeur, painting the snow in shades of emerald and violet. Vera spun in a circle, arms outstretched, face tilted to the sky. It is like being home, she breathed, like watching our twin suns dance around each other. Naya stood close to Marcus, her shoulder touching his. Is it always like this? No, he said. This is special. This is rare. Like this night, she said quietly. Like us. Marcus turned to face her, and the words that had been building inside him all evening pushed their way out. What happens at dawn? You said your ship will leave. Can you stay? Even for a little while longer? Naya's expression filled with regret. Our people will not return for another cycle. If we miss this departure, we would be stranded here for years. Would that be so terrible? Marcus asked, though he knew the answer before she gave it. We have families, Marcus. A whole civilization waiting for the knowledge we bring back. Our research on human connection, it matters to our people's evolution. We cannot abandon that responsibility, no matter what we might want personally. Vera joined them, her usual playfulness subdued. I examined our ship while you played music. The repairs are simple. We could leave within the hour if we wished, but we do not wish, Naya finished. We want to stay here in this moment for as long as we are allowed. The admission hung in the frozen air. Marcus looked between them, these two extraordinary beings who had crashed into his life and awakened something he thought he had successfully buried. I do not understand what is happening. I have never felt this way about anyone, and now I feel it for both of you. That should be impossible. It should be wrong. Why? Vera challenged, stepping closer. Because your society tells you love should be singular? That the heart has room for only one? Our people believe the opposite, Naya said. That love should be shared among all. But we are learning that perhaps both views are too limiting. Perhaps the heart makes its own rules. She reached up and touched Marcus's face, her hand warm despite the cold. The gesture was tender, questioning. He leaned into her palm and she smiled. Then slowly, giving him every chance to pull away, Naya kissed him. The world tilted. Her lips were soft and sure, tasting of something sweet and otherworldly. The kiss was gentle but thorough, communicating everything words could not. When she pulled back, Marcus saw his own wonder reflected in her eyes. I have never done that before, Naya whispered. Kissed someone because I alone wanted to, not because it was shared desire. This feeling, it is mine, and it is overwhelming. Marcus turned to Vera, seeing the same need written across her features. I feel it too, she said. Watching you together, I do not feel jealousy as your kind might. I feel joy for Naya and longing for myself. I want to know what that kiss felt like. I want to experience my own moment with you." There was no hesitation this time. Marcus pulled Vera to him and kissed her with equal passion. Where Naya had been gentle exploration, Vera was hungry discovery. She pressed against him, her hands tangling in his hair, and Marcus felt himself responding to her fire, even as Naya's tenderness still lingered on his lips. When they broke apart, all three stood breathing heavily, clouds of vapor mingling in the Arctic air. The aurora continued its cosmic dance above them, witnessing their impossible connection. "This is what we came to study," Vera said, her voice thick with emotion. "This singular, overwhelming, completely illogical attachment to one specific being. But the research never mentioned it could happen with two, that it could feel right and natural and terrifying all at once. We are supposed to observe," Naya said, "to document and analyze from a distance. Instead, we have become the experiment. We are learning what it means to want something you cannot keep, to feel something that defies logic and loyalty both." Marcus looked at the sky, then at his station, then at these two women who had become impossibly dear in mere hours. "I came to the Arctic to escape connection, to avoid the pain of caring and losing. But you found me anyway, and now dawn will take you, and I will have to live with having known something perfect for only one night." "Then let us make this night count," Vera said fiercely. "Let us stop worrying about the morning and be fully present in what we have right now." Naya took Marcus's hand. "Come inside. Let us share what time remains." They walked back to the station together, three figures silhouetted against the alien beauty of the northern lights. Inside, warmth and possibility waited. Outside, dawn approached with its inevitable separation. But for these precious hours, they had each other, and they had truth, and they had the courage to feel everything without reservation. The universe had brought them together across impossible distances. Whatever happened when the sun rose, this moment was real, and it was theirs. Inside the station, the atmosphere shifted into something thick and charged. Marcus secured the door against the cold, while Naya and Vera removed their borrowed thermal gear. In the warm glow of the heating unit, their luminescence intensified, making them appear almost ethereal. Marcus's hands trembled as he added wood to the small stove in the corner, more for something to do than from any need for additional heat. "We do not have much time," Vera said, but her voice carried no urgency. Instead, it held something like reverence. "I do not want to waste it on fear or overthinking." Naya moved to Marcus, her violet eyes searching his face. "Among our people, physical intimacy is shared communally, without the weight of individual meaning. But this, with you, it feels sacred in a way I have never experienced. I'm afraid of doing something wrong, of not knowing how to express what I feel." Marcus reached for her hand, then extended his other to Vera. "I'm afraid too. I have never been good at this, at being vulnerable with another person. And this situation, it defies every rule I thought I understood about connection and desire." "Then we learn together," Vera said, joining them. "We have no rules here, no expectations, only honesty and whatever feels true." The barriers that had held throughout the evening dissolved. Naya kissed Marcus again, but this time with less hesitation and more hunger. Her hands explored his face, his neck, as if memorizing him through touch. When they parted, Vera was there, and her kiss was fire to Naya's warmth, equally necessary, equally right. They moved together to the sleeping area, a modest space with thermal blankets and soft lighting. There was no awkwardness, no sense of competition between the sisters. When Naya's hands worked at the fastenings of Marcus's shirt, Vera helped, and their fingers brushed together without tension. When Marcus explored the strange, beautiful fabric that clothed the sisters and found the seam that released it, they guided him together, skin against skin. The sisters' luminescence intensified, bathing them all in soft starlight. Marcus traced the curve of Naya's shoulder, marveling at the smoothness of her alien skin, while Vera pressed against his back, her breath warm on his neck. There was something profound in the way they moved together, three separate beings creating something unified. Is this what humans call making love? Naya whispered against his chest. This merging of bodies and emotions? Yes, Marcus managed, though his voice was rough. Though I have never experienced it like this. This feels like something beyond definition. Vera's lips found the sensitive place behind his ear. For us, this is revolutionary. Every sensation belongs only to me. When I touch you, Naya does not feel it. This pleasure is mine alone, and that makes it more precious than anything I have known. Hours blurred together in warmth and discovery. They learned each other's bodies with curiosity and care, finding pleasure in ways both familiar and alien. Marcus discovered that the sisters' luminescence responded to emotion, brightening with passion, softening with tenderness. Naya's touch was deliberate and thorough, while Vera's was spontaneous and enthusiastic. Both were perfect. Both were necessary. In the quiet moments between passion, they talked. Marcus learned that Naya was a philosopher on their world, someone who questioned everything. Vera was an explorer, always pushing boundaries. They learned that Marcus had chosen isolation after a failed relationship years ago, after someone told him he was too distant, too locked in his own thoughts to truly connect. They were wrong, Naya said, running her fingers through his hair as they lay tangled together. You connect deeply, perhaps too deeply for someone who was not ready to match that intensity. You make me want to try again, Marcus admitted. Both of you. That should not be possible. How can I feel this completely for two people simultaneously? Because love is not a finite resource, Vera said from his other side. Your heart is not a pie that must be divided into smaller pieces. It expands to hold what it needs to hold. As dawn approached, the reality of separation crept back in. They lay together in the dim light, Marcus in the middle, each sister pressed close. Their breathing had synchronized, three hearts beating in a rhythm that felt ancient and right. I do not want to choose between you, Marcus said into the silence. I do not want to let either of you go. You do not have to choose, Naya said. We are not asking you to. Vera propped herself on one elbow, looking down at him with unusual seriousness. Come with us. The words hit like a thunderclap. Marcus stared at her. What? Come back to our world, Vera pressed. Our ship has space. Our people would welcome you, especially as the subject of such profound research. You could teach them what you have taught us about singular love and connection. You would never be alone again, Naya added. You would have us. Both of us, for as long as you wished. Marcus's heart soared and plummeted in the same moment. Leave Earth? Leave everything I know. You said yourself you came here to escape, Vera challenged gently. What are you really leaving behind? Data logs and solitude. A chance to stop being an outsider, Naya said. A chance to belong somewhere, with people who see you clearly and choose you anyway. Marcus looked between them, seeing hope and fear mirrored in their identical faces. Outside, the first hints of dawn touched the horizon. Inside, an impossible choice crystallized into clarity. What was he truly leaving? A life he had built around absence, around the safety of having nothing to lose. What was he gaining? Everything he had told himself he did not need but secretly wanted, with desperate intensity. Yes, he whispered, I will go with you. The pre-dawn light was still thin when Marcus began gathering what little he needed. A few photographs, his father's guitar, some clothes. Everything else could be abandoned. Naya and Vera prepared their ship, running through systems checks with practiced efficiency. The vessel hummed to life, its blue glow returning strong and steady. Marcus stood at his console one final time, looking at 3 months of accumulated data, years of careful isolation preceding it. He thought about sending a message to his supervisor, some explanation for his disappearance. But what could he possibly say that would not sound like madness? Instead, he recorded something simple. This is Marcus Webb at Arctic Station 7. I have encountered something extraordinary, something that has shown me what I was missing by choosing solitude over connection. I'm leaving to pursue a different kind of research, a different kind of life. Do not search for me. I am exactly where I need to be. He uploaded the message on a delay, set to send in 6 hours. By then, they would be far beyond Earth's reach. Outside, the sky had begun to shift from black to deep blue. The aurora had faded, replaced by the approaching sun. Naya and Vera stood beside their ship, luminous and beautiful in the growing light. Marcus joined them, his small bag of possessions feeling insignificant. "Are you certain?" Naya asked, searching his face. "This is permanent, Marcus. Our world is months of travel from here. There is no returning if you change your mind." "I'm certain," Marcus said, and meant it. "For the first time in years, I'm choosing connection over safety. I'm choosing both of you over the life I built around having neither." Vera smiled, fierce and joyful. "Then welcome to your new life, Marcus Webb. I promise it will be anything but lonely." They entered the ship together, the hull sealing behind them with barely a whisper. Inside, the space was larger than it appeared from outside, filled with soft light and strange instruments. Naya guided Marcus to a seat beside them, securing him carefully. Through the transparent viewport, he could see his station, small and isolated on the endless white plain. "Engaging ascent," Vera said, her hands moving over controls that looked like liquid starlight. The ship rose smoothly, effortlessly, leaving no trace on the snow below. Marcus watched his world fall away, the station shrinking to a dot, then to nothing. The curve of the earth became visible, blue and white and impossibly beautiful. He had studied the planet from below for so long, mapping its patterns and systems. Now he was leaving it entirely. Naya took his hand. "Do you regret it?" Marcus looked at her, then at Vera, then at the vast darkness of space opening before them. Somewhere in that darkness was their mothership waiting. Somewhere beyond that was a world with twin suns and beings who experienced love as shared consciousness. And somewhere in his own chest, his singular human heart beat with certainty. "No regrets," he said, "only anticipation." As the ship accelerated, leaving Earth's atmosphere behind, golden light flooded through the viewport. Dawn had come, not as an ending but as a beginning. Marcus watched his home planet recede, a jewel suspended in blackness, and felt no sorrow. He had spent so long studying distant signals, listening for voices from beyond the stars. He had never imagined that when those voices finally came, they would not just speak to him, but would invite him home. That home would not be a place, but two hearts beating alongside his own. Two beings who had seen his isolation and offered belonging instead. The mothership appeared ahead, massive and elegant, like a cathedral built from starlight. As they approached, Marcus saw other vessels docking, other scholars returning from their research. But none, he suspected, had found what he had found. None had discovered that love could be both singular and multiple, that the heart could expand to hold impossible contradictions. Vera turned in her seat, grinning. "Ready to meet several thousand curious aliens who will want to study the human who fell in love with twin sisters? Ready to spend your life teaching our people about individual desire?" Naya added with gentle humor. Marcus laughed, the sound surprised and genuine. "Ready to never be alone again?" "Yes, I'm ready for all of it." As they glided into the mothership's docking bay, as the familiar gravity of Earth was replaced by something altogether different, Marcus Webb made peace with his choice. He had been searching for signals his entire life, trying to decode messages from the universe. He had never considered that the most important signal would lead not to understanding the cosmos, but to understanding himself. The ship settled with a gentle shudder. Beyond the viewport, he could see beings gathering, curious and welcoming. Naya and Vera stood, helping him to his feet. Together, they moved toward the opening hull, toward the future. "Thank you," Marcus said quietly, "for crashing into my life, for showing me what I was missing." "Thank you," Naya replied, "for teaching us that love does not have to be shared to be real, that sometimes the most profound connection happens between just a few hearts. And thank you," Vera added with a wink, "for being brave enough to follow us into the unknown. Now come on. Adventure is waiting." They stepped together into the light of a new world, three beings bound by a single night under the northern lights, by impossible choices made with certain hearts. Behind them, Earth continued its rotation, bringing dawn to new places. Ahead, twin suns waited, and a life Marcus had never dared to imagine. The signal had been answered, the message received, and the universe, vast and strange and full of wonder, had proven once again that the greatest discoveries are not in the stars themselves, but in the connections we forge beneath them.